Bryan.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. For some reason, my computer didn't like you for a minute there.
Oh, that's okay.
So
I am gonna
technology happens.
I'm gonna leave
Yeah,
it with these very capable ladies, and Bryan's got a great presentation. I'm sure went to one of his seminars recently that was very good. Had some innovators on there that were seeking financing or capital or assistance in one way or another, and just really interesting stuff. So I will leave it with you, Amy and Leslie, and I'll check in periodically. Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you,
Julie.
Bryan.
Hi, Amy.
Oh,
Hi,
well,
Leslie.
hi, Bryan. Welcome to GIFT. We're glad you're here. You can, since it's already like 8:02, if you want to introduce and get started.
Sure. Great. So I have been an investment banker in the US for 22 years and an angel investor. And I have some thoughts for the inventors in the audience and how they might consider seeking funding to grow their invention and their ideas. So I'm going to do voice over a PowerPoint. So I don't know if that means I need to, I can hit share screen. Is that okay for the PowerPoint? Okay, great. Okay, let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. And the PowerPoint is coming up. And I'm assuming I'll be able to take questions at the end in the chat. So I'll look for that. And up comes PowerPoint. And I will do slideshow from beginning, and hopefully that will work. So my comments, let's see, it's not quite playing. Let's see, just a second from beginning. Oh, here we go. Okay, I think it's coming up. Okay. My comments are about 15 minutes long. I look forward to reviewing your questions posted in the chat room and will answer as many as I can live. For offline comments, please email me at emersonb@starlightcapital.co. I will repeat this again at the end of my talk. You are talented investors who have great inventions. You decide that you want additional money to make more products or to sell or to create a company around them. Where can you secure financing? What do you have to do? First, think of this analogy. As an inventor, you saw a hole in the market that you could fill with your creation, right? Your invention addresses an existing need or interest, an app, a gadget, a service, a process. Financiers see holes in the market too. They are interested in companies and products that can fill those holes and make enough profit to repay their investment. They often specialize in certain industries or geographic locations. So as you approach sources for money, be attentive to their interests. You will save time and be more successful in securing money if you contact people whose interests align with yours. Let me outline 3 sources of money that we'll discuss today. Number 1, donors and grantors. 2, investors. And 3, bootstrapping. Donors and grantors are people and organizations that have charitable orientations. They can also include government grants. A government grant is money that supports you and your efforts without requiring a turn of their money, as long as your efforts meet their requirements. For example, let's say that you have designed an app to teach Spanish or Hindi. What sources of funds would be most interested in this? Well, you might approach people and organizations interested in education or languages or particular populations. You have created a device that helps people with damaged legs. You could approach organizations that focus on healthcare, veterans, elderly, or physical disabilities. Review their websites or email, or call to ask if they offer grants. If they do, you will fill out a long application. You may need a demo or prototype, testimonials for users, or perhaps video. You will need to spell out what you do with money from them within a period of time. This application process can take several months. To see if the effort is worthwhile, you might contact prior grantees, in other words, people who've received money, to learn of their experiences with this grantor. They are usually listed on a grant page. You may also identify organizations or individuals interested in your area of expertise who do not provide grants, but their industry knowledge can be very useful to you. Email and then call to schedule an appointment to speak with someone so you can demonstrate your invention. Many nonprofits have someone called a development officer who writes grants, and you can approach them to secure funds. They can lead you to others in their industry. Ask for referrals to entities that can provide funding. Also ask if the organization would consider beta testing your device or app. Even if they do not provide you with money, this testing is very valuable. Work with them because they have lots and lots of people to try it out, to give you feedback and write testimonials. These users may suggest that you tweak your invention a bit so it is easier or more effective. Collect all this information. At the end of that period, you may have not only a better product, but also the endorsement of a relevant organization and initial paying clients. This will be impressive when you fill out a future grant application or loan. A second source of funding is from investors. Investors have a different interest. Theirs is to make more money by investing some money. So they scrutinize many options. If they share your interest in a certain market need, they may be looking at other inventions and companies in that space too. They do a risk calculation. Which invention looks most likely to earn me money? Which invention is further developed? Which can be sold or licensed for more money than others? Do I know anyone to sell it to? Some investors specialize in particular industries or company stages of development. There's a list on my website. There are basically two types of investment, debt and equity. Debt investment means a loan that you repay with interest. This works best for investors who have cash flow. Let's say that you're currently selling 10 widgets per month at a local store. It's very popular. People are asking you for more. You estimate that if you could get a loan, you could buy more parts, produce more product, and hire a salesperson to visit the stores. You calculate if you could sell 100 per month, these sales will generate enough profit to cover the cost of additional inventory and the salesperson and the interest payment and make more money for you to expand further. In such a case, a loan could be a good idea. Just make sure that you do the math first. If with the loan you hire a bad salesperson, you cannot sell more than 100, or if you are unable to produce that many products, you will owe money to the lender that you already spent. Not good. Inventors who do not have cash flow can still secure loans with collateral. Collateral is when the inventor owns something of financial value that the investor can take if not repaid on time. For example, the loan amount might be the value of the inventor's car or jewelry or home. If you can see how taking loans requires you to be careful about being sure that you can pay them back on time. Equity investment is where the financiers become partners with you. Inventors or companies that lack cash flow may seek this sort of funding. In exchange for their money, you trade a portion of the company or of future revenues from the invention. In some contracts, you join as decision makers in the future of the company or the invention. This can be wonderful if they have expertise you need in, say, finance or sales or marketing. The term for such investors is often smart money because they understand what you are doing and how to help that business grow. You gain both money and a team with other resources. Early stage financiers who take a stake in unproven inventions and businesses take a financial risk. Therefore, to offset that risk, they often negotiate a larger portion of the company or future revenues than later stage financiers. Inventors and entrepreneurs often hate this. They are so sure that their idea will make money, and they will resent giving up part of the business to others who pay so that the business can go forward. However, look at this from the point of those with money. They know that a high proportion of startup businesses fail. One investor may put money in 10 small companies, expecting 6 to fail, 2 to 3 to break even, and 1 or 2 to make money. Without that infusion of early cash, none of those 10 companies could even try to move forward. So early money has value. Now, I would like to warn you to beware when people offer you money. There are many good, honest people willing to back inventors and small businesses with fair contracts, but there are also others who take advantage. Their target is naive, and inventors and entrepreneurs who are so excited that someone offered them money that they do not check the details. If you are earlier in your career of dealing with financing, make sure of 3 things. 1, get the commitment in writing. 2, read the fine print. And 3, engage some dispassionate and knowledgeable person to review the contract before you sign it. Is that what you understood in conversations and emails? The written signed contract is final. A terrible contract might sneak in provisions that you cannot possibly meet. 2, I saw, required the companies to meet unrealistic revenue and growth targets within a short period of time in order to get the next cash infusion. If the entrepreneur failed, the financier got the whole company. These financiers are sometimes called vulture investors. Another trick is people who pose as investors, but they charge you to deliver services before they will supposedly finance your business. They are fake. Be as attentive to the money as you are to the details of your invention. The third source of funds for growing your business is bootstrapping. This means that you generate the money yourself, you do not make interest payments to others, you do not share part of your company revenues with them. Most inventors pursue this route until they have a track record of sales. After that, they have learned a great deal about business, have a better sense of the value of their invention company, and can negotiate better terms with lenders and equity investors as well as customers. For many business people, whether children or adults, bootstrapping means earning money through some other endeavor, saving that money, and putting it into the invention or new business. This can take years. Let me give you some of my personal examples. I'm not the clever inventor that you are, but I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started money-making businesses in junior high school when I was 11 years old, saved money to apply to more lucrative businesses that I ran in high school and college. I grew up in a place that is hot in the summer and cold in the winter. With early money from labor jobs, like cutting yards and shoveling snow, I decided to buy equipment I could own. I chose to buy snow cone and cotton candy machines and supply to sell those sweets at community and church fairs in the summer, spring, and fall. I scrutinized local papers for dates, contacted the organizers, and split my profits with them. I saved that money. Later, when I could drive, I bought a snowplow to attach to an old truck. In the fall, I went door to door to secure contracts from neighbors to plow their driveways for a certain price every time the snow fell over a certain number of inches. I routinely walked into my 8 a.m. high school math class with lots of money in my pocket after 4 hours of plowing. Now that I could drive, I decided to upgrade from my summer snow cone business. I had a truck. How could I use it? Chicago parking lots suffered from every freeze-thaw seasonal change. I decided to address that problem. I took the profits from my prior businesses and bought equipment to start an asphalt business. In the fall, I measured cracked parking lots of restaurants and shops. In the winter, I sent out estimates to resurface them. By summer, I had a season of clients lined up to repave their parking lots. Because of the advanced contracts, I could estimate how many people to hire. I looked so young that I actually hired a retired Army sergeant to meet the clients for me and to make sure that they paid. I ran this business through high school and college. In these ways, I bootstrapped several businesses. The money I made as a kid paid the down payment on my first home and started my stock portfolio. Later, I decided that I wanted to learn more about the financial side of business, so I earned an MBA degree at Rice University so I could help other business people. As a serial entrepreneur, investment banker, and angel investor, I have enormous respect for inventors and entrepreneurs. All of you are creative and visionary. Those of you are also practical about money will be successful. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to email me at emersonb@starlightcapital.co or use the chat box. Thank you. So I will go over now and see if there are chats that need addressing. Let's see, no questions yet, but if anyone does have questions or want to put a question in chat, I'd be happy to answer anything that anyone has.
Yeah, I don't see anything on YouTube yet, but
Okay.
wondering, have you seen a difference in what type of businesses are seeking funding during the pandemic?
Good question. We're seeing lots and lots of healthcare related, COVID-19 related businesses that are popping up, all have great ideas. You know, I have seen some that have gotten funded and have made really quite a difference. So certainly healthcare has been on the top of people's agenda, number one. Number two has been more IT related, a lot of apps, you know, home delivery of food has been number one, of course. And lots of ways for people to be more efficient if they were having to work from home or make other arrangements during lockdowns.
Definitely. A lot of great information for people that are seeking funding that I can see would be very helpful.
I have a question.
Yes, Leslie.
Hi, Bryan. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Could you go into just a little bit more detail about how you and your company help inventors that are looking for angel investors or loans?
Sure. Yeah, you bet. And, you know, I donate a lot of my time as a mentor and, you know, always answer questions. So I hope people with specific questions will, you know, write me and let me know their particular situation. But in general, I try to work backwards. So for an inventor, they're probably going to raise a little bit of money, maybe from friends and family or people that know them well, that can put some seed money in so they can kind of prove out what they're doing and make sure there's really a market. Just, it could be a very small amount of money. The second thing they're going to do is they're going to probably expand that and raise money from a little bit more distant sources. It could be maybe a bank, it could be a nonprofit, there could be a grant from a local government perhaps, or it could be other wealthy individuals in their community. And for that, they're going to need to show a little bit more proof that this works. Now, we do online pitches, and I can certainly help people plug in to our angel investor network because we do have people among our 30,000 investors in the US that are looking for very early stage opportunities. So I can do some one-on-one introductions for them once I know exactly what they're doing. The third thing they're going to do when they're kind of like almost really successful is go raise money from a venture capital fund, a hedge fund, private equity firm, venture capital fund. Now, when I mentioned earlier, work backwards, I suggest, and have done this for 22 years successfully with entrepreneurs and inventors, to think, okay, if 5 years out, I need $20 million, which I realize sounds inconceivable now, what kind of company is going to fund me? So we start off with those venture capital firms that invest in their particular area of technology or expertise. Then I will ask my friends who own or manage those venture capitalists if they will invest in that second round I described as angel investors. Because if they've got their money at risk, they're going to want their companies to ensure a few years later that it's really going to work. So whereas I probably can't help with that very early stage of immediate friends and families, I can kind of help them take it from there, give them a vision of their financing over the next 5 to 6 years, and try to help introduce them to the right people early so that they don't get behind the curve and realize, oh my gosh, I need money or my firm's going to collapse. And we try to get the right people involved from the very early stage. A lot of that's on my website at starlightcapital.co, but happy to address particular cases. I don't know, Leslie, if that addressed your question sufficiently.
Absolutely. I appreciate the input. So how developed does a formal business plan have to look like to be able to open those types of conversations with the venture capitalists?
Right. Well, so if I look at those three stages, stage one is all about trust and do they know you and like you and trust you? And so your reputation will precede you. And I'm sure most inventors will not have problems with the people that they know and trust among family and their immediate community. And that really doesn't require much of a business plan. You're going to, because there's probably not much there. It's, I've got this app, I've got this device, this new application, and here's the market. And I've got a couple people that said they're going to try it. But once you get to the next stage where you're kind of going a little bit beyond your immediate friends and families, that's when you're going to need at least a basic business plan that quantifies, how much money you need, what are you going to do with that money exactly? How are you going to get that money back through sales or other fundings? And there are plenty of free business plans online that are very brief that would accomplish that. Once you start going the venture capital route, now at that point, your company probably has income. It might even be cash flow positive or generate some profits. And that's probably when you're going to hire someone who writes business plans professionally for a living, or, get someone on your team that's maybe been there and done that before, that really knows what these venture capitalists are looking for and that can help do that in a professional way. Maybe someone with an MBA, maybe not, but that's going to require, for most inventors, some professional skills in that area to really stand out among all the other people that are also vying for those same dollars or monies.
Good info. Thank you.
You bet. And I've got a pretty big network. So again, if people want recommendations, I'm always happy to send names out and make introductions. So hopefully when they get to that point that they need a really good business plan done, I can direct them to the right person or group.
Yeah, that can be tedious for a lot of right-brained inventors.
Yes, I'm sure. Absolutely. But they're in the right place at the right time, inventing things that the world needs. And I and my network are here to try to help them do what we can to get them funded and go to the next stage, because they are our future technologically.
That's great. Yep. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Leslie. Any other questions or messages in the chat? If not, you've got my contact information and would certainly be happy to take this offline and look at some specific needs and do what I can to assist.
I think there's one more on here about what can some expect to learn from attending the programs?
So you're saying the programs that we host or this program or either? Well, I'll address both.
I think the ones that you host. I think the ones that you host.
Okay, great. Yeah, so the ones that I host at starlightcapital.co, I think what most inventors will see is how the companies and the entrepreneurs that are a step ahead of them manage with investors, because we've got a lot of sophisticated individual investors on our monthly meetings. Typically, we have registered between 500 and 1,000. And I think by their watching it, they could either do that live during the event, or they could go to our YouTube channel and see those that we've done over the last few years. I think they're going to get a question, get to understand better Leslie's question and how to answer that about what kind of business plans are needed, what kind of presentation do they need to make? Is it a video? Is it audio? Is it in person? Is it recorded, live, etc.? And I think that'll help them. So I believe I've got a lot of live and recorded material out there that will teach them a little bit about what they might be doing without their getting embarrassed or having to spend a ton of money to do this or pay someone to teach them. So it's really all out there free. And so I hope they'll take advantage of that to get up to speed and learn what they need to do.
It's really great. Thank you so much for being on here and sharing all that wonderful information. It's very helpful to people that are looking for that funding, and you're a great contact. So I'm sure you'll be getting some messages as people watch this.
Well, and it's incredible to me how many online resources there are. If that only existed when I was an entrepreneur, I would have gone a lot faster and quicker. But take advantage of what's on the internet and try to figure out, those that are there to help. There are some that are out there to take advantage, but those are few. But we all need to keep our eyes open and help each other.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time today. It was really great listening to you and again, learning all about different ways to invest. So thank you for being on Gift.
Thanks, Amy, for having me.